We start with President Trump. Unprecedented foreign policy announcement last night at a joint appearance with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He proposed that the U.S. actually take over the Gaza Strip, to even open up the possibility of sending troops. The Gaza's entire population of roughly 2 million people should move elsewhere, is what he said. Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce has more on the president's comments and all of the fallout. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, George. This is a brazen proposal. President Trump claiming without authority rights to one of the most contested strips of land in the world, announcing plans to displace the Palestinian population and turn Gaza into, quote, the Riviera of the Middle East. This morning, a stunning proposal from an American president. Donald Trump, with the Israeli prime minister by his side, declaring that the U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip and calling for the permanent resettlement of roughly 2 million Palestinians.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site.
And he says he's willing to use the U.S. military to do it.
We'll do what is necessary. If it's necessary, we'll do that. We're going to take over that piece, and we're going to develop it, create thousands and thousands of jobs.
Benjamin Netanyahu seemingly on board with the plan.
I think it's something that could change history, and it's worthwhile really pursuing this avenue.
The real estate mogul turned president touting the potential opportunity.
I don't want to be cute. I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so bad. This could be so magnificent.
But Trump provided no details on how he could do this or on what authority he could take over the sovereign territory. His proposal likely a violation of international law.
I do see a long-term ownership position, and I see it bringing great stability to that part of the Middle East and maybe the entire Middle East. And everybody I've spoken to, this was not a decision made lightly.
The big question, who would live there? Trump broadly suggesting everyone is welcome, but he made it clear the Palestinian residents of Gaza should leave and relocate elsewhere.
There are many of them that want to do this and build various domains that will ultimately be occupied by the 1.8 million Palestinians living in Gaza, ending the death and destruction and, frankly, bad luck. This can be paid for by neighboring countries of great wealth.
Hours earlier in the Oval Office, the president argued Palestinians have no choice but to leave Gaza.
It's a pure demolition site. If we could find the right piece of land or numerous pieces of land and build them some really nice places with plenty of money in the area, that's for sure, I think that would be a lot better than going back to Gaza.
Shortly after welcoming Netanyahu to the White House, Trump digging in, asked point blank if he believes Palestinians have a right to return.
It would be my hope that we could do something really nice, really good, where they wouldn't want to return. Why would they want to return? The place has been hell. It's been one of the meanest, toughest places on earth.
And then just hours later, that shocking declaration that he envisions the U.S. taking over Gaza entirely. After 16 months of war, the devastation is massive. But even amid the destruction, since the ceasefire was announced last month, Palestinians returning to their homes. Those images, hundreds of thousands determined to get back. In Gaza this morning, Palestinians strongly rejecting Trump's proposal. This man saying, we are staying steadfast in our land here. Whoever wants to rebuild should not kick us out under the pretext of rebuilding. But the president now insists that Egypt and Jordan should take them in, an idea those countries have fiercely rejected.
Well, I think Jordan and Egypt will, I know they've spoken about it with you, and they say they're not going to accept. I say they will.
Now, President Trump is making this proposal even as the U.S. has been working to secure the second phase of this ceasefire deal, which intends to bring about the release of the remaining hostages and a permanent end to fighting. Negotiations that were incredibly difficult even before President Trump made this new announcement. What comes next, George, is unclear.
Well, yeah, Mary, there's so many questions there, including this simply flies in the face of everything President Trump has said in the past about pulling back the American military from overseas commitments.
It certainly does, George. This goes against the promises that President made on the campaign trail. These are exactly the kinds of conflicts that he has tried to avoid and that the U.S. has tried to avoid in the Middle East for decades.
Mary Bruce, thanks very much.